Hello everyone, and welcome to series number 2 of today in the Nexus division between Easy Blues and the Swarm. Now, we're already in lobby, so I'll try and make this quick, but we do have all the bans already shown by both teams. Easy Blue and the Swarm bans out Dragonshire and Towers of Doom. Heavy Hitters bans out Sky Temple and Battlefield of Eternity. And now we are already in lobby. And in fact, we are already into the draft. So the draft now begins as this series is underway. And one thing I want to mention is we're going to have yet another very close series. I believe there's only 7 points between these two teams. So getting a domination here would be massive. Nexus division also wide open. Both teams are still very much eligible for playoffs as we are in that second half of the season. And it's where it is time to start talking about potential playoff runs. Now, this is the Nexus division, and I have casted a few games for the Nexus division, but this is my first time seeing either of these teams. Once again, I do not know their style. I do not know these players super well. But one thing I do know is we're going to get an absolute banger of a game today, as Urel will be the first ban coming out from the side of Heavy Hitters. Now, what I am really curious to see, this is Tomb of the Spider Queen, so it is a little bit of a smaller map. And there is a lot to be said about just being able to gain strong pressure through the side lanes. So I think being able to either have a very strong death ball composition, or being able to have very strong individual laners in the offlane, potentially doing a 1-3-1, I can go a very long way on this map. Mephisto, first ban for Easy Blues and the Swarm, and that's a character I believe we have seen once so far on this stream. One of my personal favorites. I love Mephisto, so I will be sad to see him being banned out this game. But once again, super solid mage here. And the second ban, actually not in time, so no ban coming out for the Heavy Hitters. But there are still quite a few picks available for that first pick slot. Vala is still available. Joanna's also up. And not a single healer has been banned. And as we know, the healers in this game are very strong, as Garrosh will be the final ban. Now, Garrosh is very good against tanks like Diablo, so it could be a sign that Easy Blues and the Swarm wants to look towards picking that Diablo for themselves. We are waiting for that first pick coming through right now, and we do see the Hogger. And if we're going to be talking about strong laners, Hogger is one of the strongest laners. Super fast wave clear, very safe with that Hog Wild, very difficult to gank. And even if you are able to bring numbers, unless you have physical walls, something to like completely stop him from bouncing around, Hogger is able to escape a lot of those ganks. Junkrat and Brightwing are going to be the two picks for Easy Blues and the Swarm. Both very solid characters. Junkrat, so annoying to deal with, but so entertaining to watch when you're not the one having to play against it. With that concussion mine and the bear trap, Junkrat's able to bring a lot of control onto the map. With this being one of those kinds of maps where you have to channel to hand in the gems, Junkrat's really able to prevent people from doing that, able to kind of poke them off, interrupt them, and really delay the hand in. So if they do end up losing a fight, he can kind of delay for the team to respawn before having to deal with those web weavers. Then we see Hanzo and ETC, interestingly enough, picked on the side of Heavy Hitters. And Hanzo is also one of those characters that is very good at preventing the hand-ins of the gems. And I haven't seen an ETC played quite yet, but I am curious to see what build they end up going, especially when it comes to the ultimates. Because ETC with the Mosh Pit, if you're able to get a big combination on top of it, and with Hanzo, you might really be able to get a ton of damage going over that Mosh Pit to get a free kill. But we'll have to see how the game goes on, as we see Anduin and Genji banned out, each from their respective sides. Both I mean, Anduin is a pretty standard ban. Brightwing already picked on Easy Blues in the Swarm. They know they don't need any other healer. May as well ban out one of the, well, more stronger heroes. And Anduin is able to kind of get a player out of a bad situation. It's just overall very solid. As we do see the Diablo and the Sonya picked up from Easy Blues and the Swarm. Now with Garrosh gone and ETC already picked, not too much threat. However, Tychus is still available, Vala is still available. Both characters are able to deal a lot of percent HP damage. And Diablo, as we know, is a very high HP tank. So it'll be interesting to see if they do go for some kind of a tank killer for their second DPS. I'm curious to see who they go with healer. There's plenty up. Rhaegar was going to be my first option. And Vala, Rhaegar are the two picks at the end of the day. Vala is just better overall than Tychus in my opinion. While Tychus is stronger into the Diablo in terms of raw DPS, Vala has a lot more... how do we put it? She has a lot more mobility. I think her tumble does go a little bit further than the little dash from Tychus. And then on top of that, she will also be able to deal a lot more damage onto the rest of the characters of that team. But the Tychus does get picked up by Easy Blues in the Swarm. And what I think the reasoning behind this Tychus is, it's not about the DPS onto the tanks, which is what I would have expected if Heavy Hitters brought it, but I think it's to utilize the Commander Odin to be able to clear out the Web Weavers, or if they're on offense, to be able to siege up onto the forts and the keeps. If they're able to utilize that kind of pressure, they can get a lot of damage done on that Tychus. But anyway, we're getting into map number 1. And we are live with game number 1 between Easy Blues on the Swarm and the Heavy Hitters. So I am curious to see how they end up splitting out these lanes. I expect it'll be pretty standard. Sonya going to the bot lane, matched by the Hogger. But this is HOTS, and the best part of HOTS is you can set it up however you would like. There's a lot of freedom in terms of the lane matchups you decide on, the lane setups you go for. As both sides do seem to be bringing all 5 mid to start with. Batman is a little bit behind on the Sonya, but shouldn't be a big deal, as a scatter shot not able to hit or dismount anyone. And Eternal Blue immediately starts dealing just a little bit of poke damage onto that cannon tower. Tezelpaco cheating down a little bit towards the bot side. And Citolop tries to get that shadow charge, but will not be able to, as they do get that first priority and first move on the side of Easy Blues in the Swarm in the mid lane. Batman is going down. Sugar's able to move down first, while we see the other grouping starting to move top. And Easy Blues in the Swarm is able to kind of dictate the pace of this so far. Daniel does get knocked away by the concussive blast. Not a huge deal at the end of the day, though. As I do believe I need to lower my sound. 1 second. Just slightly. Sorry about that. As we do see a fight breaking out, we do have the shadow charge going on to Tezelpaco. Tezelpaco, kind of in the middle of everyone, is trying to heal up. Still very low, trying to regen, and the final bind will get the kill. And first blood going over to the side of Easy Blues and the Swarm. So we do see some fighting going on the bot side, but Sugar, Batman just kind of feeling each other out. No all-ins happening quite as of yet. Tsechiop running in, shadow charge into the overpower, but nothing really coming out of that, as both sides are starting on their bruiser camps, being taken down by the Hoggery using the Hog Wild. But Eternal Blue and King Andrew, they did start their camp first, and they will get that camp finished first. On top of that, having the two people there is always beneficial. One thing we are seeing, Batman was looking towards the siege camp, wasn't able to get into it quite yet. But the bruiser camp is shoving into the mid lane. Tsechiop talking an alt chat. Probably got canceled last second. I'm not sure exactly what happened. But the concussive mine is able to bring the mage back into the middle of it. Tsechiop kind of in the middle of everyone, but it is the ETC. And in fact runs in and is able to knock Batman back into the team. Face shift. It has to come out to get that heal. Sorry, as I look into these ability names, Face Melt and Power Slide. That's right. I really love the ETC ability names. One of the coolest guys. A true fan of rock and roll. So Sugar is starting to get a little bit low as we see the gem starting to come out. Overpower will throw back for the concussive mine, toss them right back out. Tezopaco just kind of getting manhandled a little bit, but no real damage being done, just showing that they could if they wanted to. Now they're kind of getting set up into the brush, but will get spotted out by the Sonic Arrow from Dude Daniel. A lot of poke coming out. As we do see Sugar was actually able to hand in his gems. 19 gems handed in already for the side of Heavy Hitters. They are right now not too much going on. Both sides just clearing their waves, trying to hand in their gems. And last second cancel once again. But Canny will be able to get their gems in at the same time. So it's 31 gems handed in. As the Concussive Blast will bring Tezopaco over. Power slides out. Will be able to get healed back up by the Rhaegar as well. But that's a lot of damage done to Tezopaco. On the bot side, once again, we do see Sugar and Batman fighting. And Batman goes in with the hook. Is able to get a lot of damage. And Sugar is very low. Hog Wild row away. But unfortunately to Sugar will die in the process. But most importantly, the gems did get picked up by Eternal Blue. So while both sides do end up losing their gems from that, we do have to remember that the Hogger was able to hand them in not too long ago, so not too much loss there. Tezopaco cancels Chechlops. And I feel like I need to zoom out a little bit more on this map, as both sides are constantly doing stuff all across. They do have an engage onto Tezopaco. Tezopaco is still getting jumped on. They do get the hook from the Sonya, but once again, Power Slide used defensively. And Sugar just used Hog Wild, so that ability will not be up. Sugar gets thrown into the brush by the Concussive Mine, and I think Sugar's going to die here as they do get the kill. However, because Sugar was able to get 5 people into the bot lane, the side of Heavy Hitters was able to hand in their gems, and the Red Web Weavers will be descending. As we do see another Shadow Charge, and the Power Slide knocking... Nope, not going to be able to knock over Chechlop. And in fact, the extra damage will go on to Tezopaco. 300 HP, 200 HP, but will get healed up. As once again, I forget the Face Melt. That's the other ability. Polymorph jumping on Tezopaco. Ethereum also taking a lot of damage. There is a little bit of a push solo by Dude Daniel, getting cleared out by Eternal Blue, but the bigger stack of players is over at this top side. Xantharium took a decent bit of damage, as we do see the Face Melt being able to stop the Shadow Charge from Chechlop, but was overpowered into the wall. They do get one of the cannon towers over in the top lane, the entire wall in the mid lane, and a lot of damage, but no building quite getting taken down in the bot lane. Overall, that's kind of what you can expect from your first set of Web Weavers, and I'd even argue that was a pretty good set of pushes for it. But the Web Weavers are going to be handed in right now by the side of Easy Blues in the Swarm, so let's see how they can reply, as they are also going to be able to get their Bruiser Camp. The Siege Camp will be taken down by Heavy Hitters, but the Siege Camp is substantially weaker than the Bruiser Camp. It's a lot easier to deal with the Siege Camp, lower health, but if they get ignored, Batman will be able to clear them out very quickly. Okay, the Web Weaver has already dropped into the mid lane, very far into the wave, I'd say. They are trying to get as much damage done as possible, as the Heroic Talents are out from Easy Blues in the Swarm. And we do see that Commander Odin coming in. Lots of DPS onto the wall. And Chechlop does get caught with the Riptire going through. And the Flame Breath, not quite enough damage. Will the final mine hit it? No, this time able to dodge away. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I will never get fooled again. As they are hitting onto this mid lane fort, Commander Odin does end, but with the Bruiser Camp and the Web Weavers, they will be able to get it, as they do get the Shadow Charge. Ancestor Healing has come out for Xantharium, able to get the Rain of Vengeance. Not going to get any extra kills from that. Oh, as there was a kill of the bot lane, Batman and Sugar were fighting it out, and Batman was able to come out on top as another death onto that Hogger. As you do, Daniel and Xantharium running into their Bruiser Camp. They are starting it right away. They're a little bit behind, because as we know, the gems were already handed in. And in fact, they're very close to the next break point of 55 gems. They just need to kill 3 of these little spider guys. And they will have enough to get another set of web weavers. But everyone is back up for heavy hitters. They're not going to allow them to just hand it in like we did last time. Power slide and into the face melt for Chetchlop. Not going to be too much damage, but they will be able to get some poke on it. King Andrew will passively heal them back up, but it'll take some time. As we do see, Ape Monkey just handed in 11 gems. Sugar sitting on 0 in the bot lane, but Bat Bang is on 21. So having this bot lane pressure is very important. While they do have 61 gems, it still isn't enough just for the core 4 for Easy Blues and the Swarm to hand it in. As we do see the phase shift coming in just to bring Batman back up to full. And they are handing it in the bot side. Chetchlop trying to keep everyone away. But they are able to get the mine. And in the meanwhile, they just jump all the way on top of Chetchlop. The Diablo burning the ultimate. Sorry, the lightning breath. But not able to really get any kills. Riptire going to get some poke damage onto Sugar. And just a lot of damage. Some ultimates going off from the side of Easy Blues and the Swarm. And in fact, the leap was utilized off screen. As the face melt will bring Chetchlop in close. And we do see Sugar going right in. The Dragon's Arrow just barely misses. Very unfortunate. As King Andrew likely would have gone down had that hit. I believe that is Hortipult. Yes. So Sugar with a very good engage. The follow-up going ever so slightly off to the side could have been a massive play for heavy hitters. They are still able to get a decent chunk of damage and are going to be able to potentially hand in the 16 gems. But no, Chetchlop is going to cancel up. As we do have a 3-person mosh pit. Do they have any follow-up? They're trying, but there just aren't any DPSs. Their leap utilized onto the backline, and Xantharium going to get hit by the Ancestor healing again. No follow-up, no cooldowns were available to get the DPS that was needed. Xantharium was not in range to bring out the damage. Hanzo is able to deal some damage, but they don't really have that AoE that you want to follow up onto the mosh pit. And to be completely honest, I'm a little bit surprised about that. There's really no reason to pick ETC unless you're trying to wombo combo on top of that ability. As we do see the Shadow Charge coming into Daniel. Able to just jump over the wall though and we'll be okay. And Tezelpaco walks in, face melts them, but Eternal Blue and King Andrew will be able to hand in their gems. But at the same time, Dragon Arrow coming in, hits onto Kenny. Kenny very low, but will get cleansed by King Andrew. Does have the healing. And in the meanwhile, in that top side, they were able to hand in the gems onto the side of Ape Monkey and Xantharium. So both sides very close to that next set of Web Weavers. Sugar taking some damage from Kenny. And the Web Weavers will descend as Sugar and Tezelpaco were able to hand in the last little bit. And we do have the power slide into the Shadow face melt. Chetchlop did take a decent bit of damage. And in the meanwhile, Batman just used Leap and was able to get the kill. Phase shift was used to try and save it, but not in time. And now there's another fight breaking through. Tezelpaco starting to get low. Riptire coming out, canceled almost immediately. Sugar and Chetchlop gonna be trading back and forth, but at the end of the day, it's just gonna be a 1-for-1. Web Weavers are now spawning. And Xantharium gets the kill onto the cannon tower and immediately starts pressing onto the fort. And one thing I did want to mention, Xantharium did go the auto attack build, Creed of the Hunter talent. And that's kind of the build that they're going with. They're not doing the Hungering Arrow or the multi-shot, which is very expected. Manicore always kind of the best talent regardless of what you go. But when you're into a Diablo, their entire team comp overall is short-ranged. With the exception of the Junkrat. So having stronger auto attacks is very good onto this follow. They're getting a lot of damage onto this mid lane fort as well. As the leap comes in, only stuns one. The face melt able to come out in time as Chetriop kind of in the middle of the team. Not too scared though. So leap is burned, but so is a Rain of Vengeance from the Vala. And with that, the Web Weavers are gone. And Chetriop wastes no time in getting there submitted. But they will have the defense ready. They were not able to start their own Bruiser camp, nor the Siege camp. But the Bruiser camp on the side of heavy hitters will be finished off, and that'll help with the defense here. Now, they're all going to be grouping up towards the top side. Chechlop trying to prevent anything from happening. Sugar does get hog wilded. And Ancestral Healing also having to be used there. So Lightning Breath traded for Ancestral Healing, but Ape Monkey is very low HP right now. They are on top of Chechlop, and they actually ended up using all of the abilities. The Phase Shift goes on top of it into the mosh pit, but unfortunately they did end up knocking away the Brightwing from the mosh pit, and that potentially saved their life. Now the Web Weaver already gone to the top side. They do get a 2-person power slide as they run through to the bot side. Sugar and Batmang trying their best. Nope, just going to be trading back and forth as they are continuing to push onto the top side. Tezelpaco, Canyon, King Andrew. Commander Odin was utilized, and Chechlop jumps in over through the wall and gets the overpower, but with that, they're able to get a lot of damage onto Chechlop, but Chechlop is very low. They are able to get the fort, but King Andrew now also kind of stuck. And Leap utilized onto Daniel. Daniel gets cleansed and jumps over the wall. So 1 for 0. All the souls used by the Diablo. Power Slide comes in. Once again, miscommunication. The Dragon Arrow gets dodged by the face melt, and now they're getting absolutely blasted for it. 2 kills, Xantharium dies, and that's the Gambit getting taken down as well. And with that, they're going to go for the boss. They know it's a 5-on-3 on the map. Oh, very, very unfortunate miscommunication coming from the side of Heavy Hitters. With that combo, I think they definitely would have been able to get the kill. But unfortunately, they did miss that Dragon Arrow. And that made things a lot worse for them than it really needed to be. The boss does get taken down. Daniel scouts it, but a little bit too little, a little bit too late. As they are waiting for the Web Weavers to be handed in before they spawn the boss. They want to try and time this so that they get the turn in alongside the boss. And this could be an attempt to end the game even. So it is level 18 to level 17, so there is no talent advantage. I don't expect they will hit level 20 during this. But they could still win here. They could try and use this boss to get as much damage as possible. Xantharium already trying to poke out the boss as quickly as possible. Vala doing everything she can. The Web Weavers are now joining up with the boss. The boss is a little bit under half HP, so despite them waiting, the boss was still taken a bit early. And with this push coming through, Multi-Shot they're trying to clear the waves as fast as possible, but there's really not much they can do. There's a bit of a fight going on mid, and Leap used onto Sugar. Sugar trying to run. Daniel will help out. Sugar will stay alive, but will lose all of their HP in the meanwhile. Now Xantharium is still trying to DPS. The boss is now dead, but so is the keep. But at the end of the day, they were able to kill the keep. But they were able to prevent the boss and the Web Weavers from taking more than just their top keep, as they do get the power slide into the face mode. Tezelpaco takes a lot of poke as we see the triple mines coming out from Eternal Blue, or the triple grenades. Very, very good dodge by Xantharium. Almost got knocked into the easy blues and the swarm. But they just did the double turn in. Only 33 gems now, so they will not be able to get a third back-to-back anytime soon. However, Heavy Hitters, if they're able to get the map pressure, they do have enough to get the submission. But it is level 20 now and Easy Blues in the Swarm. They do have the Storm Talons coming in. And it might be in the best interest of Heavy Hitters not to fight. If they can get a pick, that'd be perfect. And that's what they should look for. Just try and get as much XP as possible, as Sugar is starting to get collapsed on. Hog Wild utilized, but Portapult also utilized, but will even that be enough? They do use the Dragon Arrow as well, but Polymorph and Leap. Leap is going to also get Ape Monkey. And just like that, they're able to get 2 kills. And Tezelpaco also takes damage. And that's a 5-on-3 level 20 advantage. That's when you start popping the Commander Oda and you start pushing. The teleport was used by Chechlop trying to prevent Xantharium. Trying to kill Xantharium. Xantharium does get Shadow Charge into the base. If it was even so slightly off to the side, they would have been able to kill him with the overpower. But they're still playing it well. They're still able to clear it out. They're using the keep very well, trying to help clear out this wave. And they are able to get the Shadow Charge this time onto Chechlop. Xantharium gets slept on and gets killed. Tezelpaco also polymorph, gets killed in the backline. And it's a 5-on-1. Dude Daniel trying to do what he can, but his little arrows are not going to be able to destroy a demon from the underworld. And with that, Easy Blues and the Swarm take game number 1. So game number 1 ends in a very exciting fashion. They hit their level 20s, and they were able to get that pick onto Sugar. And with that pick, they were able to explode the rest of the game and kind of just push into win. They had the level 20 advantage. They needed to use as much as they could. But Ape Monkey also getting caught out. The leap coming from Batman was definitely what helped close that game out. They kept that. To Heavy Hitterz' credit, they were able to keep that 3v5 defense for a decent amount of time. It is not easy to defend down a talent tier, down 2 members, especially when one of those members was your healer. But unfortunately, their best was not enough for the defense, as Easy Blues and the Swarm take the series 1-0, or take the map 1-0 to start the series. We'll be back after a short break, and don't go anywhere. As we get into game number 2, onto Infernal Shrines. We are going to once again be here with Easy Blues and the Swarm versus Heavy Hitterz. Now, map 1 was very close at most of the time. Heavy Hitterz were able to get a few teamfight victories, but in the end, just one little pick and one fantastic leap coming over from Batman, and Easy Blues and the Swarm were able to close it out. Now we're on a very different type of map. We're moving on to Infernal Shrines. Much bigger map, first of all. And second of all, with this map, the objective takes longer to take. It isn't something you can just hand in. You have to unlock the shrine and kill 40 of those little skeleton things. And that may change how they decide to draft. However, the bans so far have remained identical. Heavy Hitterz taking out the Urel, and Easy Blues and the Swarm are taking out that Garrosh. So far, nothing has really been changed. Diablo is still available. And last game, Easy Blues and the Swarm were able to get a lot of value out of that Diablo pick. And with the Garrosh banned, I was kind of expecting Diablo to get banned by Heavy Hitterz, but they do let it pass, as they ban the Brightwing, and the Mephisto is banned out. Now, Brightwing is a very good ban on the larger maps, able to bring the healing across map whenever needed, the phase shift being a very, very powerful ability. As you get onto the larger maps like Infernal Shrines, Sky Temple, all that, you know how it is. Now, the first pick is starting to load up for Heavy Hitterz, and I'm wondering which direction they're going to end up going. They do go with the Anubarak, so they're going to pick their tank first, and it's a more famously anti-mage tank with the Anubarak. Again, still very strong even when not paired into mages. The Burrow is a very strong CC, followed by the Impale. And then the Cocoon is just a very, very big value ultimate. Being able to take someone out of the team fight. It is a little bit harder against the more coordinated teams. They will be able to break that Cocoon open pretty early. But when they're hitting the Cocoon, they're not hitting you. And that might be the advantage that Heavy Hitterz is going to try to employ during these fights. Anduin and Tychus picked right away for Easy Blues and the Swarm. Did not wait long, so it does seem like they already have a plan. They know what their first two is going to be. And again, just like last game, that Tychus seemed to be utilized mostly to either push forts or defend their forts. It is not an anti-tank pick this time around. As Ragnaros and Rhaegar picked up by the side of Heavy Hitterz, and right now there's at least one R in every single hero's name on the side of Heavy Hitterz. And it's even in their team name, so I'm wondering if they're going to keep that up. So they still don't have any of their 2 DPSs. Not too many options, I believe, that still have R. Junkrat is still available, also a very solid DPS. Vala gets banned out, but that doesn't matter. There's no letter R in the name Vala, so bit of a wasted ban by Easy Blues and the Swarm. Anyway, all jokes aside, Vala is a very solid ban. We did see Xantharium was able to output a lot of damage on that Vala. They didn't end up winning the game, but whenever you can get rid of that hero, you definitely want to. Dealing with it is very, very hard. Diablo's still open, and I do still want them to ban the Diablo. I think that Diablo was a big part of the pressure coming out from Heavy Hitterz. But no, they do end up going with the Hanzo ban. And the Genji, and like I was saying, there's the Diablo, able to get a lot of pressure with Diablo on set shop. He played ridiculously well in game number 1, and I don't expect to see something different coming out of game number 2. But their second DPS has changed quite a bit over how they're going to play this. Now, Genji's main role is just to be a pain in the neck. It's someone you can't ignore, but he's always going to be there, just like right behind you going, hello, hello, hello. And Sylvanas, unfortunately, Zeratul does have the letter R, but Sylvanas ruins almost everything. However, Xantharium. There is the letter R in the name. We're going with it. It doesn't matter. It counts. I make the rules. But going back into the draft, Sylvanas and Zeratul, super strong picks as well. Zeratul, once Zeratul gets into the late game, is able to deal a ton of damage. Could even one-shot people potentially. And as I do see Krizo pointing out in the chat, Light Bomb Genji, the Anduin Genji combo. Now, that is not something I have considered, but that is going to be a very, very difficult combo. There's no real good way of stopping it. Not with any of their current picks. But now we do see the Blaze going into the offlane versus the Ragnaros. So it is going to be both sides trying to, well, really team fight, assassinate, and also siege with these two comps as we go into game number 2. And welcome back as we are in game for game number 2 between Easy Blues and the Swarm versus the Heavy Hitters. So just to start off the game, we are already seeing potentially they were thinking of going towards the bot side, but they do come back mid. While we do have all 5 members of Heavy Hitters in the mid lane right away, as last second they decide to start moving towards the top side. They do have the Sylvanas, they do have the black arrows. They are able to get a lot of value out of these black arrows. But honestly, going back to the draft, I wouldn't say either side really won. If they're able to deal with the Genji Light Bomb combo, they should be okay, as they do throw the black arrows onto the tower, but they're not able to get too much damage out of it. Paco taking a decent amount of poke. They did have the answer right away, as Chechlop does walk in, but a little bit on their own. Thermasia is trying to deal some damage, and Paco gets 2-person impale, and then the knockup onto Canny, but Canny will be able to just dash away. So very interesting cheese coming out from Sylvanas, and overall just a nice even trade in terms of damage. They weren't able to punish super hard for it in terms of DPS, as we do see another jump going into the top side. Batman will get the jet propulsion onto Dude Daniel. Dude Daniel's now stuck on the wrong side of the map, but luckily Dude Daniel does get thrown back by Chechlop, and Kenny trying to come in for the kill. Sorry, Kenny. But Dude Daniel will be able to get away. Very interesting when a player makes a mistake, and then Chechlop, being the polite person that they are, just overpower them right back into the proper side. Now, Paco gets Shadow Charge, but will use the burrow, but still way too much damage coming out from Eternal Blue, and First Blood will go over once again to Easy Blues in the Swarm. Canny and Dude Daniel, they are starting to run to the mid lane. And I am going to be watching these two assassins fight it out, because, well, to be blatant, it is very cool watching assassins fight it out. Eternal Blue is able to get the shove once again, and we are seeing Easy Blues and the Swarm are able to get first move onto pretty much every wave. There is almost half a level worth of an XP lead. And I think the big part of that isn't even the kill. It is mostly about the fact that they are able to get those waves shoved out earlier. They is the level 4 talent right now, but that will not last. And Heavy Hitters are going to match that level 4 as well. The siege camp is getting taken out. This is the one camp on neutral ground on this map. Dude Daniel, Paco, they are coming down, potentially considering contesting it. And Paco won't be able to, will burrow out, so will not get picked off, as they do watch that huge camp taken down. But in the meanwhile, Xantharium with the black arrows, they're getting a lot of value with this bruiser camp top. They have taken out the entire topside wall. And getting rid of that wall is a very big deal. They're going to have a lot more pressure. There's going to be less poke coming out. And they're going to be able to start fighting directly onto the fort. The Punisher will not be spawning topside. It will be the Punisher over through the bot side, which I believe is the Frost Punisher. I think they're always spawned from the same ones. I swear I've played this game before. But we do see the siege comp already finished off by the side, or the bruiser camp was already taken off by Kenny, and now the siege camp will be taken down by the side of Heavy Hitters. So they are kind of swapping which camps they're taking, and we do see Ragnaros getting caught in the mid lane. Sugar once again kind of getting caught out, as Dude Daniel is trying to walk in, and the shrine has been started. The skeletons are being taken down, and in the meanwhile, they are trying to shove their mid lane with the siege camp. But the bruiser camp is getting a lot of damage and a lot of value over on the top side. And there is the root into the jet propulsion. The Impale was able to kind of prevent any further follow, but Paco is still taking half of their HP. Sugar on Ragnaros. Oh, sorry, Ape Monkey. I have been using the wrong name, and I apologize for that. They are walking up into the top side. Dude Daniel going to be getting hit a little bit. And 3 bursts of jet propulsion. Dude Daniel able to dash away. So is Xantharium having to use that Shadow Wave to get away from this fight. But that is still, the zoning has been finished. They've taken a lot of damage. They are healing a little bit. They had the fountains available for Dude Daniel. And for Tharmacus, Xantharium going to utilize theirs now. But only 4 more skeletons are needed in order to finish this. And they are going to get the first Punisher. So this is, in fact, the Mortar Punisher on the bot side. So it is going to be curious how much value are they going to be able to get out of this. Now, the Mortar Punisher is able to deal as much damage as possible. It is very good at killing buildings, very good at dealing damage. And they're just kind of hitting Shadow Charge onto Tezopaco as they pull them back into the root. There is a little bit of a lot of DPS actually coming out from the side of Heavy Hitters, able to zone them away. They should be able to prevent their fort getting taken down, but they will lose the wall. As Ape Monkey utilizes the passive a little bit after everything has been taken out. Dude Daniel getting a little bit of poke onto Chechlop. Or Chechiop. I just realized that is the letter I, not L. Very good with the names today. But Dude Daniel against Kenny. Not going to be fighting back. Just a little poke coming out. Mostly from the Genji. Batman is getting the first shove out on the top side as the siege camp is also finished off. And they are fighting Shadow Charge on Tezopaco into the root as well. Kenny trying to drop in. And Dude Daniel runs in for a little bit of DPS. A Shadow Dagger coming out from Xantharium. Not able to deal too much damage. They are constantly fighting back and forth, but not able to get any really finishing damage onto each other. Tetra actually taking a lot of damage here now. So is Kenny. And one thing I haven't mentioned that I do think is important, Sylvanas is actually very good at dealing with Genji. And that you kind of want an auto attacker as the jet propulsion does come in, but interrupted by Tetrop. And Dude Daniel trying to run away. 40 HP left. And Tetrop will be able to get the last hit. A 3-0 in terms of kills already for the side of Easy Blues in the Swarm as they collect the siege camp. Now we see Xantharium is able to shove out that top side. We'll use the black arrows to get more DPS. Batman already caught, trying to prevent Ape Monkey from following up. Xantharium is going to use their abilities. They got the extra explosion and jet propulsion onto Xantharium. And Xantharium just kind of gets caught under the fort. That's a 4th kill going over to the side of Easy Blues in the Swarm. And we even see Chechov and Eternal Blue. Commander Odin used. They finished off the bot lane fort. And now they're going to use this, the rest of it, to finish off the siege camp. A lava wave going down through the bot side. The Dibble's name is pronounced TZ Chop. Okay, perfect. I will definitely use that. Probably easier than whatever I was seeing. TGOF, I believe. I thought it was Polish or something. But anyway, Batman and Kenny also going to try and steal away this Bruiser camp. Both sides are level 10, so everyone has their heroics available. Batman going to finish it off, and they were not able to get there in time. They may look for the follow-up fight as the Burrow does come in. Lands onto Noah. The Mind Control, but the Mind Control only lands onto TZHIOP, and the Genji Light Bomb comes in right away. They do have the Cocoon onto Eternal Blue, but the Cocoon merely kept him safe. Dude Daniel is invisible, running kind of into them, not able to really pick anyone off quite yet. Damage has not yet grown. For Zeratul, Zeratul does scale up into the game super well. As the talents start coming through, you will see much more damage coming out. And eventually, even able to one-shot her. We usually just call her TZ if that's easier too. TZ might be easier, yeah, I'll try that. I am trying to get better with all these name pronunciations and the pronouns. It's very difficult to keep up as I am learning probably like tens to hundreds of people, but I am going to do my best. I just ask that everyone is patient with me as I do try to learn all of this. And I appreciate that everyone that already has been. NGS community has been fantastic. But to get back into the game, Xantharium does get jumped on by the jet propulsion, but Batman is kind of on their own, mind controlled. And Batman taking a lot of damage thrown into the bunker. And the Genji's in the bunker as well, trying to utilize the cooldowns. Jet propulsion able to get away. Dude Daniel jumps in, able to get the last hit, but will be traded back by Kenny. Xantharium trying to get more damage onto Kenny, but once again, they are trying to get onto this Genji. The Genji able to dodge away from the burrow, but not able to dodge away from the Impale. And we do have the Cocoon onto the Diablo. TZ will be able to get away. And the Frozen Punisher was taken solo by Eternal Blue while all of that was happening. Now, Frozen Punisher also very difficult to deal with because all of the objectives on Infernal Shrines do tend to go after the hero more than they do try to go after the fort. which is kind of the opposite of how most objectives work on this map. Ape Monkey utilizing the passive, gonna try and clear out the waves, deal some damage over to the heroes as well. And TZ able to go right in with a lightning breath on top of everyone. Dude, Daniel just gets absolutely blown up. We do see the Genji X Strike Light Bomb combination able to pick off the Zero Tool as well. And just like that, they were able to get the top lane fort. They are pushing in. Commander Odin just expired, but was able to get one last salvo of abilities onto that bot side tower. Xantharium actually is the one to take the leap, and because of that, they were able to blow Xantharium up. Never underestimate the power of the Punisher. TZ able to absolutely follow up on that, and then Kenny and the rest of the team, they will take this wall. I don't think they'll be able to get the keep, but that's still a very solid advantage for them. Good value out of the Punisher. Good value out of being able to utilize their talent advantage to get the Punisher to begin with. And even Batman steals the siege camp over through the bot side. And just a lot of pressure being able to come in from the side of Easy Blues on the Swarm. They hit their level 16s, so that's an almost 2.5 level advantage. So they're going to have this talent advantage for a while, as they do get the mind control and the knockup onto TZ. TZ is still hitting, tanking the keep, and will get healed last second. Just a little bit more damage needed, and Dude Daniel will be able to get the Anduin is in the cocoon. Cocoon expires. King Andrew is alive, while everyone else is still hiding in the bunker. Able to get a 2-person stun, and just like that, Kenny is able to utilize the resets to deal as much damage as possible. So overall, 2 for 1, but TZ is already respawned, utilizing the souls. And Commander Odin is once again available, and the mid lane wall is there to be destroyed. Xantharium mounted, waiting off on the side. Mind control is available, will go wide. Kenny just once again doing what Genji does, gets in the way. They are able to clear most of this wave using the lava wave. And once again, I always find it satisfying to watch. We'll be able to clear the wave as it spawns as well. And in the meanwhile, the Bruiser camp will be getting taken out by Easy Blues in the Swarm. But Tetzalpoch already coming in. 2-person Impale will not follow it up with a Burrow Charge, as once again, there is still a talent lead right now for the side of Easy Blues. Not to mention 3-level stat lead. A 1 level isn't really that big a deal, but once it starts adding up to like 2 to 3 levels, the stat differential does come into play. Still not as important as missing the talent, but quite important anyway. Now TZ jumps onto Dude Daniel. Dude Daniel able to get away. But the neutral camp over in the siege camp will be taken down. I'm going to call this one the neutral camp because it is on the neutral territory between the west and the east here of the Easy Blues and the Swarm and Heavy Hitters. But Xantharium gonna use the black arrows, going to try and take this top fort, getting whatever they can back from the map. Tetzalpoch trying to delay and actually gets charged up, and the burrow is not able to go over the wall, rooted down, and Tetzalpoch will get taken down here. They will be able to trade it for the fort, but Batman is already up here. Xantharium kind of stuck. I don't think they'll be able to get away. They can try to delay, but I'd even argue if they delay longer, they're just going to stagger the death timers. Tries to use the wave, but in the meanwhile, we see Dude Daniel actually able to get the assassination onto the Tychus. Dude Daniel able to get kind of bring it back a little bit. They aren't even talent tiers right now, but the shrine is going to activate. It is still a 1-person advantage for Easy Blues and the Swarm, but Tychus will be up last. So there will be a brief period of time where the Heavy Hitters will have an advantage. Level 20 is not going to come after Easy Blues and the Swarm, but it does seem like they're just going to grab the siege camp first. Probably get level 17 as well, not that it matters too much here. And they're all grouping bottom, so it doesn't look like they even want to contest this Punisher. And the Arcane Punisher is going to be shoving into the mid lane. The wall is already gone, so this will be purely to take the keep. Dude Daniel is getting set up, gets some damage onto Batman. Tetzalpoch running away. They were not able to finish off the fort, but they were able to finish off Tetzalpoch on this side of Easy Blues and the Swarm. And right now they're kind of waiting. Oh, as we do see the the X strike with the light bomb, Tharsimachus trying to use that ancestor healing to stay alive. A lot of big cooldowns utilized there. And the Punisher, they've keeping it at 38. They want to decide when they will use it. And when is that, you ask? When they hit the level 20s. They know their timer, and they're going to utilize it. Level 20 hit just as the Punisher spawns. And this is going to be the push that I think they should try and end on. Once Heavy Hitters is able to get their level 20 with the black arrows, and in fact, we do see the fort going down here as Dude Daniels finishes it off. But now the Arcane Punisher is here. Commander Odin also used Ape Monkey, going to use the passive, trying to delay this a little bit, but he's going to spawn in the middle of them, but Jet Propulsion just barely misses. As Dude Daniel trying to get as much DPS onto the backline, just trying to zone them away, trying to get them to leave. But TZ doesn't want to do that, as we do see the big knockup. They're not able to follow up with anything else in terms of the Genji and the Anduin combo, but they are able to get 4. And Ape Monkey coming in. Says, no, if the rest of my team's gone, I will leave too. And game 2 and the Dominate goes to Easy Blues and the Swarm. And that'll do it for us today. Game 2 going to the side of Easy Blues and the Swarm. The Dominate going over towards them. Very, very good combo play. The Genji Anduin ended up being just a little bit too much for them. They were not able to defend against it. They were not able to play around it. But I will say, we saw some signs of life. We saw that they were really doing everything they could to try and come back to the game. They went over to the side lanes with Xantharium Sylvanas, but unfortunately not enough damage to be able to kill any of those forts, get any of that passive XP, any of those extra pushes coming out for the side of Heavy Hitters. With that being the end of this series, I would like to say thank you to everyone who's been watching me cast this entire week. Whether it's your first time here and you're just here to watch this game, or whether you've been here before and just enjoy watching NGS cast, thank you very much for watching me cast. It's been a blast, and I do hope to continue doing this. I will not be casting tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be at a football game, but I will try to pick up a couple games on the weekend, maybe do a few replay casts. I'm just going to keep my schedule open for now, but I can promise I will do at least one series on the weekend, but most likely more. And before I finally head out, one last thank you to AFK Journey for sponsoring this stream. Thanks, AFK Journey, and download the game today and help support this stream. AFK Journey is an exploration gacha game, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. I've been playing it for about a week now, and it has quite a big story in that game compared to most other gacha games. But I won't shill too hard. If you want to download it, feel free. If you don't want to do it, then don't. My cast has been awesome. Thank you, Amiev. And am I casting the football game? I wish. It's the CFL, though, not the NFL. So probably not as big league as you were imagining. Gotta love the Canadian football team. Anyway, with that, I am done. I will see you this weekend. I will see you next week. And I will see you all in Heroes of the Storm. Thank you very much.